Hey YouTube land, Andor here doing more action figure reviews, and today we're going to be keeping things with Star Wars related figures. So hopefully if you're watching these in sequence, there'll be a bunch of Star Wars related figures all uploaded around the same time. But today we're having a look at one of the figures from the Andor series. It's the Black series figure line. So this is the 6-inch figures, and this is the Imperial Officer from Ferrix. So if I bring in my tape measure, you can see he stands just around the 6 inches. He's a fairly plain figure. He's actually a very heavily reused figure, and we'll get into that in a second, but I'm going to just move him aside for a moment and we'll just have a quick look at his box. So he comes with the standard Black Series style packaging, where you have this plastic tray that you can slip out and the figure's concealed within. You have an image of the character on the side of the box. It just says Imperial Officer, and it has Ferrix, which is the planet that they're on. And then if I bring around the backs, it has, in an era filled with danger, deception, and intrigue, Cassian Andor embarks on a path that will turn him into the rebel hero who will challenge the evil galactic empire. And then that's just repeated in several languages. So this is number 4 of the Andor series figures. I believe this is a store exclusive. I think it's a Target or Walmart exclusive. I'm not sure which, but he is apparently an exclusive figure. So there is 2 Imperial Officers that I've seen from Andor, and they both seem to be store exclusives, which is kind of a shame because these are really cool army builders. So you have this guy, which is the Imperial Officer, and then there's the, was it the Dark, what's it called? Dark Times Imperial Officer as well, when the Empire was in power. So you have that. So moving the box aside out of the way, we'll have a quick look at the figure. So the figure isn't that entirely detailed, in the sense that it has fairly plain paint apps. There's not much in the way of paint apps. The most notable paint apps is the belt. It has the silver, these silver attachments. This goggles are actually a separate piece. The helmet is a separate piece. It takes a little bit of finagling to get it worked off the head, but you can do it. So you have the Imperial Officer without his helmet on if you want. So as I said, it's a kind of an army builder. So if you wanted more than one of these guys, you could have one guy with the helmet on, one guy with the visor or the goggles down, and then one guy without the helmet altogether. Or if you're feeling a bit more adventurous, you could get multiples of these guys and just swap heads. He has fairly undistinct hands, so you could easily swap the heads around with other characters, because he doesn't have a specific skin tone for those hands, which is handy. He does come with only one accessory, which doesn't have a holster, which is the standard issue Stormtrooper style blaster, or Imperial blaster. So it's not the blaster pistol that some of the officers would be using, but it's more of an actual standard blaster. And if he looks very familiar sculpt wise, that is because we have seen this sculpt at least 3 times, technically twice. So its first outing, as everything comes crashing down that I have next to me, was for this guy. This is the Minban Han Solo, the one on that mud trench planet, if you've seen the film. So it is the, I can't remember the guy who plays him, but it is the Han Solo figure with the Minban gear. So it is exactly the same figure. You can pop his weaponry out of his hands. He even comes with the same goggles, different paint apps. The side paint app for this Imperial Officer is silver, whereas it has the matching to the helmet. His helmet, now mine is actually broken. I managed to break the strap on it because trying to get this breather part off is, from what I can see, looks the same, but it is slightly different. It's a bit more narrower on this guy, but I think it is the same mold. It's just it fits the head a little bit better. As you can see, this is the exact same figure, right down to the arms. It has this armoring, which you have on here. You have these, it even has the holes on the back for where the plugs for the gas tank or the rebreather goes in. the hoses for that. Hands are identical as well from what I can see. Trigger finger on the right, grip hand with the same hinge. So the articulation runs down as follows. If we just get Han Solo here to stand, so arms can rotate all the way around. It has a hinge. There's a single hinge in the elbow with a rotation. You get a good over 90-degree bend. You have wrist rotation, and you have, for the trigger finger hand, you have up and down, and then for the grip hand you have horizontal, and then you have a waist articulation. You have nothing the lower waist, or sorry, it's kind of a mid-waist articulation point. You have the head is on a ball joint. You have the legs can split out that much, can kick forward that much. There's a decent split in the waist section, so it can give you good clearance. It has double jointed knees, and then has rocker ankles and 2 peg holes, just like Aun has the thigh swivel as well, which is conveniently hidden by this bottom skirt piece of the uniform. So this mold was also used once again during the Mandalorian series, and here is one of them. This isn't the Din Djarin, but it's the other guy, Mayfield, in his disguise, which is the driver disguise of the vehicles that they hijack. If we can just get him to stand without falling over. Come on. Is it Miggs Mayfield, I think he's called? The difference between this guy has a different skirt piece, but the rest of the figure is pretty much the same. And oh, obviously the different helmet. But the different skirt piece gives them the holsters for their pistols. I believe the Din Djarin version is exactly the same as this, except with just Jin's head, and I think it comes with the same pistol. I believe it does. But if you look at the two of these together, you can almost see where they are the same, except for the waist. And then the paint apps, obviously, for the legs. But other than that, these guys are all the same. But it is nice that they kind of reuse this for this armor, and it made an extra kind of troop builder out of it. These technically could be used as troop builders as well if you got multiples of them, especially if you just keep the helmet on and the goggles down on the Han Solo figure. I don't think they did a release of just the Minban troopers without it being a Han Solo figure. There is Minban stormtroopers, which are really cool looking with all the mud on them, but there isn't one for those. And then just for another size comparison, we'll bring in a Rebel. Here is one of the Hoth Rebel soldiers, just for a kind of army builder comparison. So they look pretty good together. If you're not pushed about, army building Imperials, then you could easily drop and pass on this guy. But if you're a fan of the Imperial officers and different kind of characters, this is actually quite a cool one to get. Again, if you're a customizer, you could probably get multiples of them, depending on if you can get them reasonably cheap, and customize them into different troopers, swap out heads, maybe do custom helmets for them, and you could go to town. I believe there's supposed to be a version of one of these guys which has the riot shield, and I can't remember if that got released or not, or if it's not released yet, but I remember seeing prototype images of a riot shield holding one, which is pretty cool. I think they had very similar riot shields to how the riot scout troopers from the Force Unleashed, not Force Unleashed, the Fallen Order, Jedi Fallen Order guys have. So I think they use something similar to that. Again, probably reused parts, but overall, this guy's pretty cool. So I'm going to wrap it up here, and I hope you enjoyed my waffling on for this figure. Again, he's a pretty good figure, but if you're not too pushed on getting every Imperial officer there is, you could easily drop him and just pass over him. But if you're like collecting Imperial officers, he's not a bad one. Again, he's minimal on paint apps, so if you got a bunch of them, they'd look pretty cool together on the shelf. So there you go, guys. I hope you enjoyed this quick video review of the Imperial Officer from Ferrix from the Andor TV series. And as always, please feel free to like, comment, and subscribe to my channel. Cheers, guys.